Let's give a shout out to our sponsor, Home Title Lock. Make sure you go to HometitleLock.com using promo code TIM250. You can click on the link in the description. Did you know scammers can literally steal your home right out from under you? Honestly, when I bought my first house, I thought it was very strange how simple the process was. And they were like, this little piece of paper. The FBI calls it house stealing. It's a growing real estate scam targeting American homeowners. Here's how it works. Criminals will forge your signature on one document, use a fake notary stamp, pay a small fee, and file it with your local recorder's office. And just like that, your home title has been transferred out of your name. Then they can take out loans using your equity as collateral and even sell the property behind your back. You won't even know it's happening until you start getting collection or foreclosure notices. So let me ask you, when was the last time you checked your home title? If you're like me, the answer is never. Well, to be honest, when we got the notification Home Title Lock was sponsoring, I was like, we should probably look into that. And shout out to Home Title Lock. And that's exactly what scammers are counting on. That's why I trust Home Title Lock. Their $1 million triple lock protection helps keep your home and equity safe. Here's what you'll get. You'll get immediate 24/7 monitoring of your property, urgent alerts if there are any changes. And if fraud should happen, their U.S.-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix the fraud and restore your title at no additional cost. Here's the best part. I've teamed up with Home Title Lock to give you a free title history report so you can find out if you're already a victim and access to your personal title report. A $250 value for signing up. Once again, go to HometitleLock.com. Use promo code TIM250 or click the link in the description below. That's HometitleLock.com, promo code TIM250. Once again, the link is in the description. And get that protection and peace of mind you deserve. And of course, we are. It is an honor and a privilege. Home Title Lock, thank you for sponsoring the show. Breaking news from James OKeefe, draining the deep state. Yo, this is crazy. DoD branch chief calls President Trump illegitimate, vows to resist him, everything he does, claims Pete Hegseth is, quote, insanely young and unfit to lead. Nobody I know should be the Secretary of Defense. Quote, the same guy who tried to overthrow an election is just like truly setting us down a path of dictatorship. I think they don't care who they hurt, referring to Trump's administration. Now, we will get into the next bit of the story, but the reason why this one is so important is that you have this story. Tulsi Gabbard says she referred intelligence officials to DOJ over leaks. Then James OKeefe drops this. I think this guy's going to get investigated. Let's play the clip.
It's the same guy who tried to overthrow an election. He's just like truly setting us down a path of dictatorship. He's illegitimate. He's purely immoral, breaking every norm. We're going to resist him. Everything he does.
James O'Keefe here in Arlington, Virginia, in front of the Pentagon. The branch chief inside the Pentagon saying on hidden camera he's going to resist against Trump and Hegseth. Now, since President Trump was elected and assigned Pete Hegseth as Secretary of Defense, the DoD has faced a number of leaks in the past few months from employees inside the Pentagon.
There's some type of deep state forces that want to make sure you don't stay there.
They've come after me from day one, just like they've come after President Trump. I mean, I've gotten a fraction of what President Trump got in that first term.
The Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, has been going on media interviews expressing that there are people within the Pentagon who want to resist the president and hurt his policies.
I know exactly why I'm here, to rip out the insidious ideologies and not compromise and not back down, to reestablish standards and accountability.
Nicholas Terza, a branch chief within the DoD, expressed dissatisfaction with his new boss, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, claiming he is too young for the job.
So I'm assuming that your boss isn't Pete Hegseth then.
Ultimately, he is my boss.
Okay.
But this is insane. I actually know Pete Hegseth.
You do? Like personally?
But this is so crazy. Like, that's not a good reflection on me. That's a bad reflection on Trump. Like, nobody I know should be the Secretary of Defense.
Oh, no.
That's a weird thing to say because I would ask, like, why? You're like, I know Kash Patel. I would never say no one I know should be running the FBI. Like, well, I don't know. I actually know a lot of veterans and security experts and law enforcement. That's like a weird thing to say. I do want to add this real quick to this. This is a clip from the interview I had with Gnome that I think is pertinent to the Tulsi Gabbard and DOD leak story. Check this out.
And one thing that, in Homeland Security that we've been doing is we're polygraphing everybody. We're kind of going hardcore. So I'm just, I don't trust anybody. And we are polygraphing everybody. So if I had a CBP officer that was sitting there and facilitated child trafficking, first thing I do is put him on a polygraph and start building a case against him. So we've done that with people on our executive offices, heading up our biggest agencies. In our communications department, we've had all these leaks going on. We've polygraphed those individuals. If we think somebody is not on Team America, then, you know, I want to find out if you really understand that you're working for the people of this country.
I love it.
So nobody's done that before, but if I have the authority to do it, I'm going to do it to make sure. The deep state exists.
Oh, yeah.
And I would say 10 years ago, you could have told me, you know, I would have been skeptical on that and thought, you know, everybody's kind of seeing shadows. Boy, if anything has proven to me that it does, and that there are people embedded in this government, and that there are people that are facilitating crimes and criminal activity, I know that there are. And so we're going to make sure that we're doing all we can to clean house and get people out of here that would facilitate something as horrific as that.
This is actually a really interesting turn of events for me, because it was just yesterday that I spoke with Gnome, and she said, we've got people, the deep state is real, they're entrenched. She's specifically referring to guys like this, that James O'Keefe then, I believe just at 6:46 p.m., publishes this video. So while I have Gnome literally saying we are trying to weed out these people through the DHS, you've got the DoD at the same time, there's the evidence. She was right the whole time, and they're polygraphing these people.
By the way, we should get a polygraph for this office. That'd be hell yeah.
Sure.
And so she claimed that it's the people that are doing illegal things, and that's a big problem. And I agree, but I think a lot of people
leaking classified information is illegal.
I think a lot of these people are doing legal things, but they're doing evil. And that's a big moral conversation about what's good, what's evil. We have religion and you know, social mores to kind of dictate that. But people that use the law for evil are just as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than people that completely ignore the law. Maybe they're not quite that dangerous, more insidious, you know? You can create and control entire civilizations with evil lawfare if you're unopposed. So that's a big challenge, is to find out who in here is actually bent on, oh man, it's just these two perspectives about what's going to destroy the world. Is it him or is it me?
No, it's actually simple. The American people have elected an administration, support the administration. Trump's approval ratings within the margin of error. And then you simply say, okay, I'm here to do my job for the American people. These people are ideologically driven, evil individuals who think they matter more than you.
There's like a civil disobedience is your right as an American. And you know, but this isn't a civil thing. This guy's working for the military, the Department of Defense. So he's no longer a civilian. And you're not really supposed to disobey your military.
Let me show you something real quick, Ian. I tweeted this earlier, and I think you made a point that warrants bringing this up. The top post on Change My View on Reddit is, American conservatism is objectively a dangerous ideology, and those associated with it do not deserve a platform. Conservatism is undeniably a dangerous ideology. It seeks to fundamentally destroy and undermine democracy, targets minorities, has led to authoritarian regimes. At this point, who cares what else they said? Is the point not obvious to you, Ian?
What point exactly?
This individual who thinks conservatives are evil and destroying democracy and leading to authoritarianism has decided that authoritarianism and the end of democracy are the means by which you stop conservatives.
Oh, it's totally staring into the abyss. That kind of mentality.
It's not staring into the abyss.
You become the demon you hate so
They're
much.
not fighting monsters.
They think they are.
Well, then they're psychopaths. And so what would you, if you've got a guy and he's in the military and he's armed and he's sent on a mission and they say, this guy right here is kidnapped a bunch of women. We need to rescue them. They're American citizens. And he says, okay, we call that a warrior. What if that guy with the weapon was diseased, drugged up and out of his mind and running around shooting at random people? We'd say that's a crazy person or a deranged lunatic. That's how I would describe these people. They're on no mission. They're not going after any bad guys. They are seeking to undermine the popular will of the people.
But I think the concern that they're having, and I've thought of this a lot, is people did vote for Trump and they gave him the mandate. That doesn't mean they support carte blanche everything this guy's going to do from here on forward.
No, it means that the polls right now show largely he has general support across the board. His approval ratings in aggregate are within the margin of error, or I should say about a point below the margin of error. He's sitting in aggregate RCP about -4, which is give or take. You know, it's like 20 points higher than where Biden was, or not 20, but 10 points higher. So right now, especially on immigration, Trump has and that's the principal issue. Trump largely has the favor of the American people. But why is it then that these deep state people are undermining these individuals before they've even started their jobs?
I don't know.
I think, what were you going to say?
I'm wondering if when this guy says something like the same guy who tried to overthrow an election, and he's having this one-on-one conversation with this person, if he really means that narrative, because obviously a lot of people don't believe in that narrative. And so when he's having do these people behind the curtain sincerely convince themselves of these narratives, and then they have to commit to it even in these settings to keep it going? Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's believing your own lie kind of thing. You have to get to the point where you become so entrenched. It's either that or they're just brainwashed by the mass media and they don't question.
You know, I have a really good example of something inane that I think represents even today the culture war. Me and the Boonies homies were joking about launching a skateboard. Like, what are our new graphics going to be? And then I said, I got an idea. Let's make a skateboard that's just white with black bold text saying "Don't be gay." And then everybody laughed because I'm joking, right? And I laughed and I was like, to be fair, like we'd probably sell out of those.
It would sell like hotcakes.
Indeed. The joke is the left has a meme that says "Be gay, do crime," and so my inversion of their joke is "Don't be gay." Now here's the thing. One of the guys, I'm not going to call him out, but he was like, I don't know, man, people are going to get real mad at us for something like that. And then I was like, why are they allowed to say "Be gay, do crime," and we can't say "Don't be gay"? This is the world we live in even to this day. People are walking on eggshells around these lunatics. It's a joke. We're not literally insulting gay people. It's meant to be an inversion of the left's meme. But there are genuinely people who are concerned. You have to be in that world. Even to this day, it is a cult. Mm-hmm. And people fear the cult because they're violent. So you take a look at religious groups. You take a look at, we'll give two examples. You've got Scientology, you've got Islam. There are a lot of people that have talked about how if you're a Scientologist and you speak ill of them, then they come and they do bad things to you. I don't really know a lot about like what they do, but you guys have heard stories like that.
I was just about to make a video about, because they hired me one time, and I'm going to talk some crap about Scientology. They hired me in 2007, me and my girlfriend. Awesome. They cast us. We were cast to play married couple. And we went to there and we said, we've been married for 5 years or whatever.
For what? For what?
For Scientology, so that they could show people the right to marriage. It was one of their tenets, the right to marriage. They had us lie to promote marriage. Crazy religion.
Just not so we don't get off point, but then you also have Islam, where you've had people who drew pictures of Muhammad get killed. News organizations don't show Muhammad. South Park did a really great example of this. An episode of South Park depicted Jesus, Muhammad, and I can't remember who else. Do you guys remember? It was like 3 people.
Buddha? Yes.
Maybe. And then later on, like 10 years later, they had already depicted Muhammad in the show, but after the Charlie Hebdo incident, they wanted to bring Muhammad back on the show, and Comedy Central would not let them. So they censored the whole thing. And then when Stan was doing his monologue about what he learned, they just bleeped the whole thing out.
Didn't they want to put Muhammad in a bear costume and tell people that it was Muhammad in the bear costume?
Oh yeah.
But they weren't allowed. They wouldn't allow them to show the bear costume that Muhammad was in.
Yeah.
Yep. And so that's the point. Even to this day, people are still scared of this cult faction, and it's not necessarily because they have the political power to crush you. Right now, Trump has the establishment power. It's because they're deranged, violent lunatics who will cause you harm, and nobody wants to be confrontational.
And I think people are also trained over the last 8 years to keep their mouth shut and not violate the COVID narrative or other things that get you censored offline. So there's still a lot of this chilling that people are thawing.
Do you think do you think it's still thawing, or do you think it's my sense that that's over, and there are people that are extremely enthusiastically saying the taboo things nowadays?
I bet it's just like when water boils, part of that water turns into gas first, and then other parts of the water will start to turn into gas. That's the heat. You're someone that's already slapped it away and you're like hot. But some people are still warming up and getting out of that state of mind.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.